Welcome to the CBIA BizCast. I'm your host, Ali Warshavsky, and today on our podcast, we are joined with the president of Foxwoods Casino, Jason Guyot. You became interim CEO at the height of the pandemic in April of 2020, and we'll definitely touch on that. But I also heard you have an incredible path to becoming president, so we definitely want to hear that story. Welcome, Jason.
Yeah, Ali, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Now, you're a lifelong Connecticut resident, I heard, and you began your career at Foxwoods in 2003. What were you doing then? I'm assuming you weren't sitting in the same seat.
No, I was not. Yeah, actually, I started even earlier than that. In the mid 90s, like 1995, I worked as a bellhop at the Great Cedar Hotel for a summer. And that was really my first kind of experience in hospitality. And so that really led me to then left and graduated college locally at Mitchell College here in New London, and then started in human resources in 2003. It's been quite a ride.
Yeah. I mean, the first time you walked into that hotel, could you ever have envisioned where you are now?
No, I think I was about 15 years old. It was definitely a different experience for me. I had a different mindset back then. It's come a long way. So,
What led up to you wanting to take a role? It can't be without any stress being the president of a large casino, especially during a pandemic when you took on the role. What kind of led you to want to take on this challenge? And then we'll go into the challenges that I'm sure you faced a little bit later. But, what drive was inside of you? Did you study hotel management or type of management when you were in college?
no, actually, I got my degree in behavioral science, which I use every day. Not like analyzing everyone, but the human element is so important in hospitality. So I thought I was going to be in social work. Did a lot of volunteer time in that through college. But coming into Foxwoods, this is where I grew up in this area. I'm a member of the Mashantucket Pequot Tribe, so always been aware and involved in Foxwoods and the tribe in general. And so it wasn't like there was any one day where I said, hey, I want to be the CEO of Foxwoods. It was really, I've been here for almost 20 years of my career and built my career here and had a lot of support through that. And, last year in 2020, when council had asked me to fill in on the interim role, I really jumped at the opportunity. Felt as though I was ready. At that time, I was a senior vice president, resort operations, really overseeing all of the operations here at the resort. I was able to jump right in and, without a hiccup, just continue to move forward. Now, we were closed. So when council said, hey, would you like to step into the interim role? I know the property's not open. You got a lot of work to do, not the most ideal scenarios, but I've always been someone to jump at opportunities and try and many times put myself in uncomfortable situations, because when you come out of that and you get through it, I think you're much stronger, just in general. And I've done that in many times in my career.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, April 2020, you weren't even open. How long was Foxwoods closed?
We were closed for 3 months. And we closed on March 17th. Of 2020, and that was the first time we had closed since opening our doors in 1992. Pretty incredible.
What was going through your mind? Because, all of a sudden you've got these massive buildings that employ so many people. Maybe you have the exact number, and all of a sudden no one is employed at your hotels and casinos.
Yeah. It was really sad. Honestly, it was very difficult. Walking through the property was somewhat eerie. We still had about 150 team members just keeping the property safe. And, we had team members here. We had our cafeteria open for those team members that were securing the property. But in general, no guests for that 3-month period. And unfortunately, at the time, we had a little over 5,000 team members. We had to temporary furlough all of those team members for that 3-month period. And then, when we reopened June 1st, we did not know what the volume was going to be. COVID was still out there. There were no vaccines. We put a great plan together to keep everyone safe. That was our number one priority. And luckily, when we opened the doors, it was busy and we had good volume and people felt safe. But we had about, a little over a quarter of the team in general. So we brought back about 1,700 or so team members, and we've built that up from there. We now have about 3,000 team members. So we're not quite to where we were. And, nobody really thought through all of this and all the challenges we've had that now, we'd have 300, 350 openings and really struggling to fill them. And our plan from the beginning was to basically fill our open positions based on the volumes that were coming in from a revenue standpoint. And as those volumes started to pick up, that's when, individuals weren't as comfortable working or had other options through unemployment. So we're still kind of sorting through it like every business is. Hopefully we're starting to come out of it. These past couple of weeks, we've had some hires, which has been really positive, and we've done a lot of adjustments to our pay rates. Really, we're at about $13.50 for a minimum wage, and most of our frontline positions are $15. Those are benefit eligible positions. So great roles, great opportunity, but haven't really seen the market pick back up quite yet. But the business is doing fairly well, and we've been happy with our results.
Yeah, you're definitely not alone in that labor shortage struggle. Is there a certain department where you see that it's harder to employ? I know that our vice president of public policy has really seen a trend with the restaurants and jobs that normally had high turnover. Now just can't even get people to fill to even see that turnover.
Yeah, I think some of the skilled positions, culinary is one that's been really difficult. Cage cashiers, really bank tellers has been another that's been a challenge for us. And then it's really kind of across the board with a lot of our entry level positions. But again, when we closed the doors, in March of 2020, our minimum wage was about $10.50. We then bumped it up to $12.50 upon opening in June, which was ahead of the state of Connecticut and their minimum wage. Since that time, we've gone up $1 about every 6 months. And most of our frontline positions, as I mentioned, are right at $15 now, with some even going above that based on availability and skill set.
Have you guys had any hiring fairs? I know that's been popular too.
Yeah, we have. We've had about 6 in the past 2 months and varied kind of responses. Still not the volume that we've seen, pre-pandemic with some of our hiring events, but we're keeping at it. We're optimistic. We feel as though we can come out of this and that people will start to kind of open up and look to get back into the workforce. And what better place to work, especially, like I said, with the benefits package, our pay rates being some of the best in the state of Connecticut. We feel like we're positioned well when people are ready to come out and start working again.
Now you're close to Rhode Island. Are most of your employees Connecticut? Do you have an even split?
We're only about, 10 miles from the Rhode Island border. So I don't know off the top of my head the exact split. We do have a lot of team members that come from Rhode Island, a lot in Connecticut, majority are in Connecticut. And then we even have some team members coming from Massachusetts and New York. So I think we have a team member out of almost every county in the state of Connecticut at one point or another. So, as now being an employer employing a little over 5,000, we're still employing a little over right around 3,000 team members, one of the largest employers in the state.
Yeah, you opened again June 1st, you said, right, was when you had your big reopening of 2020. How important was it to you, to that part of Connecticut, to reopen? You are supplying a lot of the economy in that area.
Yeah, it was tough. We had a lot of conversations with the governor in our reopening plan. And part of our push to reopen was to get the economy started again. When you take a look back at what was happening March until June and even into July, businesses were suffering. And still to this day, many haven't recovered. And hospitality in general, restaurants closing down based on mandates set by the state. And trust me, all done for the right reason. I'm not questioning that, but a huge impact on the economy, not only in the state of Connecticut, but across the United States. So our goal was to reopen and get people back to work. We've been a member of the community for the entire 30 years. We're going into our 30th anniversary for 30 years of being here as an employer in the state. And, we wanted to jumpstart the economy. We wanted to get things going. And so not only did we reopen, we also partnered shortly after reopening and doing a mega vaccination clinic and held it here at Foxwoods, where we were able to vaccinate over 35,000, teachers and guests and just people in the community here to help keep everyone safe. So we're going to continue to do everything we can, for the local community. But that was the driving force upon reopening.
Yeah, what a fun place to go and get your vaccination, right? Come back,
Yeah.
get your shot, play a slot machine. You could walk out of there a lot richer than you came in and vaccinated. I'm sorry I missed that location. Mine was
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was easy in, easy out. Like I said, we had a lot of people coming through. They could come in and play, but we would have been just as happy if they bought a coffee and just got vaccinated, put a sticker on, and help protect everyone,
Yeah. And, we talked about the employees and struggling to regain your full staff back, but how has it been for the customers, for the people booking the hotel rooms, coming to the slot machines? Have you recovered most of that business?
We're still off about 15 to 20% as compared to pre-pandemic levels. And so that's why we haven't really flexed the entire property open. We do get some guest complaints that, everything's not open 7 days a week, and we understand that, and we're working towards it. Again, no one saw a challenge in employment after furloughing and laying off so many team members and then having the opportunity to bring them back, and then many of them being not interested in coming back. So we're trying to balance that out, but I think we are still giving a great guest experience. We have a ton of things to do, a lot of entertainment. We're kind of getting back into the swing of things. And we hope by spring of next year, we're back to our typical kind of hours of operation for all the amenities. But, we're open 7 days a week. There's still so much to do here at Foxwoods, and it's still an exciting place to come and visit.
Did you lose any of the amenities during COVID, just restaurants that decided to not reopen or shops?
Not at this time. A lot of the ones that we chose, the ones that we run, were just based on hours of operation. So there are still some that haven't opened, but they're ours and run by us. So thankfully we haven't yet, and we've tried to be through this a great landlord to all of our tenants. We're in this together. So from a support standpoint and how we handled those conversations of the closure and reopening and how we really set them up for success to ramp up, we're really proud of that. And I think that goes a long way. I think the tenants really appreciate that partnership that we have in understanding that their success is ours and vice versa. And that's really the approach we took, and making sure they could open safely and get back to business.
Now, I know in June of 2020, I remember seeing, the barriers put in place, all the safety measures. What does it look like now? Is it very similar to 2020, or if things relaxed a little bit and it's taking on what it used to look like back in 2019?
Yeah. No, it's looking more like it did traditionally. Our team members are still masked, but our guests, if you're vaccinated, you don't need to mask while on property. And so we're still doing a lot of the deep cleaning and sanitizing of all of our hotel rooms and all of the gaming floors and in the restaurants. But we've taken a lot of those protocols away as the infection rate has dropped. And, again, we're just going to continue to do everything we can to keep people safe when they're here on property. But, Connecticut's done a great job in general of vaccinations. I think it's, up over 70%. For the state. For our team members, over 80% of our team members are vaccinated. We're really proud about that. That's all voluntary vaccination. We did a lot of work in talking to them, communicating with them, and that really goes a long way for the guests feeling safe and secure, when they come here to the resort.
And do you have a mandate in place? I know some businesses do.
We do not have a mandate in place at this time, but with that vaccination rate over 80%, we are doing random testing on a weekly basis. And so we have a great testing program called Bluestone. It also has an app feature for daily symptoms. We also send all of our PCR testing in, saliva-based PCR. So we have a good program in place. We're random testing anywhere from 50 to 75 team members every week.
Wow, very cool. Let's talk about some more fun things. What is next for Foxwoods? I was reading, it looks like a proposed campground type area
Yeah.
would be coming.
Yeah, we do. We just announced that we're working on it for about 4 years now. We just announced the RV park. It's really a high-end luxury RV park located right adjacent to the resort. It's got about 300 pull-through RV stations, 30 glamping cabins, some areas for tenting, an outdoor freshwater pool, like a water slide, a ball field. And so, again, another great amenity to add as we kind of go down this road of creating this fully integrated resort destination here at Foxwoods. And we think it's just another great amenity to add. It's through the approval process with the local town. So it's still got some ways to go. The wetlands kind of application went in. We've spent a lot of time meeting with the local residents and explaining how non-invasive invasive this RV park would be. And that's our number one goal and a greatest and best use of land. We feel like this is definitely it. And again, just really adding 300 more hotel options here at Foxwoods. So yeah, that's just one of the many things that we have going on.
Yeah, what are a few of the other ones? I mean, glamping sounds a little bit better to me than a normal tent. I would probably
Uh-huh.
just book the hotel room, but nice that people have that option. What else do you guys have planned in the next few years that you find exciting or newsworthy you want to share with us?
Sure. Well, listen, we just went live with sports betting and online gaming. That's been going really well. Just closing out the first month, and with that, we're about to open on November 13th a DraftKings sportsbook at Foxwoods, which is going to be really a spectacular sports book. I think it's going to be kind of the model for sportsbook moving forward. It's got a 30-foot by 50-foot LED wall that anchors about a 75-foot bar, multiple LEDs and TVs, live betting windows, VIP service, great food selection. So excited to open that on November 13th. We're also opening Mystic Market, which is a local favorite here in the local area. There's one in Old Saybrook. There's two in Mystic. So it's got both fresh and frozen pre-made meals. Excited to add it right to the concourse. So, those are just a couple of the many things that we have in store. I can't share all of them. We haven't announced all of them yet, but those are just two of the many things that are coming down very soon.
And I'm sure a big 30th anniversary party as
Huge,
well.
huge 30th, big holiday planning. So we're here for the holidays at Foxwoods. So we have our winter ice rink that's coming back based on demand. Our guests told us they wanted it back, so we brought it back. There's 6 igloos out there that are themed that you can get food and bottle service there. We're also doing Cedars Restaurant. We're calling it Christmas at Cedars, full decor, top to bottom, doing breakfast with Santa, really a winter wonderland we're creating in there. That'll be going for a couple of months. Got New Year's Eve. That's really going to be exciting. We have a music themed New Year's Eve where every hotel tower will be branded in a separate music segment, whether it's pop, Motown, or classic rock. We're going to have a lot of bands, live entertainment throughout the entire resort, both on New Year's Day. And then, as you said, in February, moving to the 30th anniversary. So we're finishing up the planning on that. We'll have a lot of exciting announcements to make in the coming weeks in regards to our 30th.
Yeah, we'll have to be following that. And we look forward to talking to you more about things that are going on in Foxwoods in the future. The last thing I want to touch on, which you already did, was the online gambling. It's such a huge thing for Connecticut. How long have you really been working on this behind the scenes? It was just approved, or just the soft launch was just a couple of weeks ago, but I believe it's been years and years and years in the making.
It has. You can go back to the opening of Foxwoods in 1992. Our race book was actually designed to be a sports book. And then through the compact negotiations, it never ended up being approved. So it was always a race book. But that conversation has happened all the way back to 1992. So more recently, it's probably been, 4 to 6 years of conversations about sports betting in general. And to be able to get iGaming in and being one of the first states that legalizes that has been fantastic. It means so much to the tribe and the tribal nation for our security and our future growth. It's been going very well. We're about a month into it, so we're starting to kind of look at what the numbers are, what the revenues are, see how accurate our projections were. But excited that on the iGaming side, us and our competitor and that, and the sports betting side, with 3 partners in Connecticut, we feel like there's enough for everyone to do very well. So over the next few weeks, I'm sure we'll hear more and more info and more of the dollars shared on what we're actually doing for a state.
Yeah, I believe Katie just checked out, and it looks like Connecticut is number 9 in the nation when it comes to online sports betting. Have you tried it out yourself? I know the governor made a few bets.
Yes, I did. I want to keep up on the competition, and based on some of the regulations, I actually have to I can't use our own here. So I've
Okay.
checked it out, doing a little testing, seeing how everything is going. It's fun. Listen, if it's done, in the right way, it's very exciting. Everybody's been doing, DraftKings and fantasy for a long time now. This just takes it to the next level. And it's just exciting to be able to bet on games or amount of people that are scoring, all these other small bets. And as long as it's done responsibly, it's a great and exciting amenity.
Well, Jason, thank you so much for coming on and telling us about all the things that have gone on since you've taken the role and the not the problems, I should say, but the obstacles you have overcome since joining in the middle of a pandemic. We appreciate it, and we'll have you on soon to talk about how the online gambling's going and how everything else is progressing.
Yeah, thank you so much, Al. I just want to say we have a great team here at Foxwoods. We're really excited for the future and look forward to talking to you again.
Great. Well, thank you for listening to this week's BizCast. You can catch other BizCasts on our website as well as Apple and YouTube.